Now, I'm Brett Siegel covering for Gary Franchi. I always broadcast to you live from my safe space down here in northern Florida, where I'm always free from your bigotry, racism, hatred, microaggressions, and patriarchy. Now, while American B-2 pilots were in the air over Iran, while our forces executed precision strikes, Democrats were literally in the process of drafting articles of impeachment against President Trump. Think about that. Our military, men and women, conducting active operations. And these criminal politicians are trying to remove their commander-in-chief during a mission, mid-mission. AOC, completely awful human being, and Congressman Casten called for impeachment before our pilots even landed. Al Green filed privileged resolutions while missiles were still smoking. And Bill O'Reilly, he's pissed. He's demanding ethics sanctions, calling this what it is. Sabotage during wartime. In other words, another word for that is seditious activity. One might even say treasonous. I didn't say it. Just wanted to put that out there. And across America, the radical left is literally imploding. Lifelong Democrats fleeing. Professional agitators exposed. Constitutional norms shattered. This is a new low, but the left never ceases to amaze me with how low they can go. Once I've thought that they just cannot go any lower than this, they'll like chop off the kid's genitals. You know what I mean? Late-term abortions, trying to impeach a president mid-mission, and crazy. It's crazy. When Democrats push impeachment during military operations, when protesters burn flags while our pilots risk everything, life and limb, you see why looking younger isn't vanity, it's vitality. We need strength to fight these battles. But that's where your collagen comes in. By 40, your body collagen drops dramatically. Skin sags, joints ache, energy fades. But ageless multi-collagen changes that. 5 types of collagen from our 4 clean sources, hydrolyzed for easy absorption. No clumping, no smell, just results. While radicals attack our foundation, you strengthen yours. Firmer skin, healthier joints, renewed confidence to stand tall against the chaos. Visit healthwithgary.com. Healthwithgary.com. Get 51% off today. This is sedition in real time. While B-2 bombers crossed into hostile airspace, while American lives hung in the balance, Democrats moved to decapitate our military command. Watch Bill O'Reilly explode over this unprecedented betrayal.
The Democratic Party sinks deeper into the morass. At first, two of these loons called for Trump to be impeached, even when our military people were in the air.
Yep.
And that's Casten's of Illinois and Ocasio-Cortez in New York. If they're not hauled in front of the House Ethics Committee and sanctioned, then we don't have any standards of behavior. You cannot.
There's no standards of behavior. It's Congress. Congress has less standards of behavior than my fraternity house did.
Leland, these two have to be hauled in front of the Ethics Committee. They have to. You cannot do that in an active war zone. And they did it. And then you had the War Powers Act by Schumer, when Schumer applauded Obama bombing Libya and taking Gaddafi off the map.
Right.
Schumer applauded it. Did Obama get congressional okay for that? No. So the Democratic Party just blown up completely. And the press doesn't know what to do.
Muammar Gaddafi, the longtime ruler of Libya, was killed on October 20th, 2011, during the final stages of the Libyan war. In Libya, this was an action taken on by President Obama, head up by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. In Libya, several video clips taken by the rebels with mobile phones circulated shortly after. They showed the following: that Gaddafi was sodomized with a metal rod or bayonet while being dragged and beaten by the fighters. One video shows a fighter inserting an object believed to be a bayonet into Gaddafi's rectum. Gaddafi can be heard screaming in pain, further confirming the assault. Was Obama impeached for that? I mean, you can say what you want about Gaddafi. Was Hillary impeached? Isn't that a war crime in some places? You know, and why are liberals so damn obsessed with sodomy? You know, AOC and Casten called for impeachment while our pilots were still airborne. Do you think anything's going to happen to any? Do you think there's going to be justice for any of the the insane foreign policy disasters under the Democrats? Is anyone going to be held accountable? One person. Doubt it. And while our pilots are still in the air, they're trying to impeach the commander-in-chief to decapitate our military complex in the middle of a military operation. The dust hasn't even settled yet. You know, they tried to remove a commander-in-chief during an active military operation. And O'Reilly is right. Haul them before the ethics committee. You have to. It's what they would do. It's what they're doing. Congressman Al Green took it further. Watch him file the articles of impeachment accusing Trump of authoritarian actions for defending America. This is Trump derangement syndrome and narcissistic projection reaching treasonous levels. Take a look.
Mr. Speaker, and still I rise. And I rise today in the name of government of the people, by the people, for the people. I rise today because our country is nearing a moment of decision. I rise because we are at the intersection of democracy and autocracy. I rise to announce that at this moment in time, I have filed H-Res 537. H-Res 537 is a privileged resolution. H-Res 537 has been filed because I believe that the President of the United States has committed an impeachable act. H-Res 57 addresses abuse of presidential powers by disregarding the separation of powers, devolving American democracy into an authoritarian government, usurping congressional power to declare war.
Why is it that every single black congressman wants to stand up in front of Congress and pretend like he's Martin Luther King? I have a dream that we will reach the intersection, the intersection. We have reached the intersection. He's acting he thinks that if he just dresses it up like a sermon, that we're not going to recognize that what he is doing right now is borderline treasonous. Usurping congressional power to declare war, he claims. That's crazy. The president can actually declare war for 90 days without Congress. 90 days. Has any war actually been declared? No. But where was Green when Obama bombed Libya and Gaddafi was getting sodomized in the street? Where was Biden when Biden struck Syria? Nowhere. When Biden completely botched the Afghanistan war, the pullout, this is selective outrage, and it's dangerous. No one's talking about Biden for leaving billions and billions of dollars of our weapons in a foreign country with hostiles. They have new weapons now. Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, joined the circus, lecturing about lives at risk. No, they don't care about lives at risk. These are people who slaughter babies. Okay, they stand behind Planned Parenthood. Standing behind a Planned Parenthood podium, they're talking about lives at risk. The irony is staggering. Watch this masterclass in absolute and utter hypocrisy. But then again, Elizabeth Warren she's just infamous for it.
Let me just put this in some context here. Negotiations were moving forward, and I give credit to the Trump administration. They were helping bring the parties together, negotiating to keep Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. Benjamin Netanyahu has never wanted to rely on negotiations. He has wanted to engage in military actions. He saw his opportunity. He shoved the president aside and the president's negotiation and moved forward, and then turned around and managed to pull Donald Trump in, who in turn seems to be working hard to pull the entire United States into war in Iran. The Constitution is clear. Only Congress can declare war. We all understand there are exceptions when our troops are at risk, when our homeland is at risk, when Americans are at risk, but none of those apply in this case. What Donald Trump has done is unconstitutional, and we're going to have a vote this week in the United States Senate on War Powers Act, and this is our opportunity. It only takes a simple majority to reel back in Donald Trump and make clear to the world that the United States is not going to war against Iran.
What a horrible human being. What a terrible, terrible hypocrite. They're at a Planned Parenthood event or something like that. I'm not even sure what that event is, but it's spattered with Planned Parenthood stuff. She's talking about Planned Parenthood and lives at risk. Producer Brian, could you just play the very beginning of that clip one more time? I want you to pay attention to the lady in the background. Just for a second.
Negotiations were
Look at this
moving
lady in the
forward,
background
and
laugh.
I give credit to the Trump administration. They were helping bring the parties together, negotiating to keep Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. Benjamin Netanyahu has never wanted to rely on negotiations.
They're having a good old time
to engage in military action.
402,000 aborted babies last year at Planned Parenthood. Let that sink in. 402,000 lives lost. But she's worried about what? Iranian nuclear scientists? Personally, I'm not even sure how such a strange religious cult, I don't understand how that jives with anything scientific at all. But zero casualties, zero American casualties, zero civilian casualties in Trump's strike against Iran. Zero. Yet she's sitting here calling this unconstitutional. First of all, it's not unconstitutional. Second of all, it's not immoral. You know, the Democrat Party isn't just wrong. It's like disintegrating right before our very eyes. What's she even doing talking about foreign policy at a Planned Parenthood event? Watch this lifelong Democrat beg for reasons to stay in a party she no longer even recognizes. You know, a lot of people feel this way. You know, I've heard this a lot. Well, I'm not leaving the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left me. Are we sure about that? Sometimes I think about that. You know, sometimes I think, did the Democrat Party really leave you, or did you just wake up and realize that you've been on the wrong side of history your whole life? But the exodus has begun. Take a look.
I am a lifelong Democrat. I have been super active in campaigns. I've worked on them. I volunteered for them. I've contributed to them. I'm so appalled by the Democratic Party. I have no idea what they stand for. I have no idea what their policies are. The things that I see that they most talk about feel very bad for the country, bad for the people, super fringy. So how would you convince me to stay in that party and support it, given what is happening today?
It's a great question, Sharon. And I think you speak for a lot of people, and at times you speak for myself, right? Which is just the immense frustration with being rudderless and leaderless, and just kind of, often what we talk about is just our dislike of Trump, right? It's just we scream and pull our hair out and say he's a king and etc. Look, when your party goes through moments like this, and Republicans have had their, frustrations, you face a choice. If the other party is speaking to you more, you like what they're saying, you like their leadership, then obviously changing parties is one option. I believe that this stuff, it's a pendulum. It swings and kind of you stay on the inside and try to get the family to look at things a little bit differently, support candidates that might take it in a different direction.
She's worked on campaigns, donated, volunteered, and now she's appalled by her own party. I wonder how much of this is like, I wonder what she's appalled by, whether, because what this other man is saying, that they're leaderless, rudderless. I mean, is she mad because they're wrong, or is she mad because they're just losing? I mean, does she want a bazillion babies being aborted every year? Does she want forever wars in all these different countries? Does she want to cut the genitalia off of America's children? And she's just mad that she can't get it now? Who knows? I like to think that there's good in people, and that eventually everyone will have their come to Jesus moment where they have like a red pill moment. But there's a lot, but you have to, the people who are leaving there are people who leave the Democrat Party and they go even farther to the left. Their red pill moment is like, okay, just, let's just admit it. My come to Jesus moment is there is no Jesus. I'm an atheist and I'm a communist. She sees the fringe taking over. I hope she's being genuine about that. The hate is consuming everything, and rational people would not want to be a part of that. Meanwhile, actual constitutional violations are happening daily. In Winter Garden, Florida, a conservative activist was threatened with arrest for speaking on a public sidewalk in Florida, of all places. Come on, man. Watch free speech die in real time. Take a look.
Right now, we're going to ask you to leave, okay?
And what if I don't?
Then you will go to jail.
I'm going to go to jail if I don't leave the farmer's market.
Correct, yes.
You guys
So
are going to get
your options to move outside of here or go over here on Plant Street. You can talk to people on Plant Street. We don't care.
So what would you be arresting me for?
For trespass after warning, because you're being asked to leave the private event right now.
This isn't private. You guys are wrong.
Okay,
this is not a private event.
We're not going to argue about that, so it's going to be your choice. You can either leave or you can go to jail. That's your choices right now.
So if I come back next Saturday, you guys are going to arrest me?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. On what grounds?
Trespass after warning.
Trespass from a public event in public property.
Literally walking on a public street.
Yeah.
Public sidewalk over here. Public park right here.
So you're going to tell me I can't be on this public sidewalk?
That is correct.
How can I not be on a public sidewalk? Any other rights of mine you want to violate?
Not at this time.
Not at this time, but just this one, just the first one. Alrighty, I have been trespassed officially.
A public sidewalk, public park, public farmer's market, but speak conservative truth, you're trespassed. Threatened with jail. First Amendment. Might be dead in Florida. I don't think so. I think this was a fluke, to be honest. Caitlin Bennett is a good friend with our producer, Todd, and I'm sure that he's going to have something to say about this later. Now, Simone Biles deleted her Twitter account after being exposed for attacking Riley Gaines. Even celebrity leftists can't handle the truth when it's spoken directly. Watch the cowardice unfold.
Got to be a significant portion of people that will just push back because it's the right, because it's Trump, without putting any thought into the actual issues at hand. Do you?
Well, we know from polling, all kinds of polling from all different organizations, this is polling about 80%. So 80% of America does not want boys and girls sports. And yet you've got whole states that are pushing back against that, entire universities, entire school districts. Mm-hmm. And so that would tell me that those in power are playing a political game.
Yeah, it's not like all the students at the college are deciding it. It's the administration and who's running the administration making that decision.
Yeah, colleges, I'm not as familiar with because we don't really dive into that a ton, but I see what I see on the news, just like you guys too. There's an awful lot of radical liberals on our campuses right now.
The reason I feel so hopeful, and I am in an echo chamber in a bubble, but is Riley Gaines. It's people like Riley Gaines that are like, this girl is like a movie star, like she appeared like a hero in a movie and just is like fitting this position inevitably.
Simone Biles deleted her X account.
She had like 2 million followers.
Isn't that fabulous? I mean, not that she deleted her X account, who cares, but that
she backed down and ran away.
Yeah, truth spoken to her and once called out on it.
Well, it's an 80-20 issue. When you look at the Pew research on every metric, support for transgenders has declined, and I would call it like opposition to this movement has been increasing, even among Democrats.
You see, there's a difference between being canceled as a conservative when you are lied about and slandered and doxxed, and then when you are a liberal and then you bump up against reality and it gives you a big old cold hard smack in the face, and then you self-cancel. 2 million followers gone, ran away rather than defend her position. She can't defend her position because she doesn't have a position. I've seen these two people split screen, and you got Biles saying that Riley looks like a man. She's cute. When 80% of America opposes boys and girls sports, even Olympic champions retreat from their radical stances. She self-canceled. But here's the deepest revelation. These aren't grassroots protesters. Watch this expose of professional agitators linked to Canadian designated terrorist groups operating on American streets. Take a look.
Do you want to see Israel destroyed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, your pin says you're Jewish, right?
At this point, I do. I used to believe in the one democratic state solution.
What do you do for work?
I don't.
You don't work? Why not?
I don't have to.
So you did well.
I haven't worked since I was 27.
Now, I think she actually is working, and as a professional protester. Here's her protesting without her sunglasses on. She usually does have them on. Here's her saying HP profits from Israel's torture of Palestinian political prisoners. Here's her saying democracy is not for sale. Back again with the Palestine flag, and again with the South African flag. Now, it's not just her, as we know that they work in teams. Look at this blonde woman beside her. I found her at more protests than any other paid protester I've exposed in the past. I found her at close to 50 different protests, all within a couple of years. So who's behind this team of people chanting for Israel's destruction on America's streets? Their name is Sami Dune. It's an organization based in Canada, and they are sanctioned by Canada as a terrorist group. In fact, in October of 2024, US and Canada issued joint statements listing Sami Dune as a terrorist entity. Canada called them a sham charity who funnels money into the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, which is a Marxist organization that recognizes a one-state solution with no Israel. Germany banned the group after members of Sami Dune passed out candy celebrating October 7th. The founder of Sami Dune at a rally in Vancouver publicly called Hamas heroic on the 7th and said that Hamas and Hezbollah don't engage in terrorism.
Sami Dune, sanctioned as terrorists by Canada and the US. These are people chanting for Israel's destruction. One state solution, no Israel. Professional protesters who haven't worked since they were 27. This is foreign interference. You know, I'm not sure what's more scary, that there's this big cabal of people trying to sway the flow of world events, or that there are people with such narcissistic people who are even willing to accept these jobs. I mean, I guess if you toss enough money at something, I mean, everyone's got to have their limits as far as what you would do for money. And to me, this is just absolutely despicable. Now, if you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. You know, this is the radical left's endgame exposed. Impeach presidents during military operations, arrest conservatives for speaking, import professional agitators tied to terror groups. They're not trying to win debates anymore. They're trying to destroy the republic itself from within and make it seem like it's this big grassroots effort that everybody agrees with it. When Democrats put politics above pilots' lives, when police become speech enforcers, When terrorist sympathizers operate openly on our streets, we're not watching normal political opposition. We're watching an insurrection against constitutional order. And the seditious and treasonous politicians who support them are just as much involved as the people right there on the ground passing out candy, celebrating the October 6th events, the terror attack on Israel. You know, they call Trump authoritarian while crushing dissent. They cry about democracy while silencing voters. They claim the moral high ground while standing with America's enemies in the open now. You used to do that. You used to have to do that stuff in private. The mask isn't just slipping, it's completely off. My question, should members of Congress who push impeachment during active military operations be charged with sedition? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. And if you believe in free speech, show it. Grab some gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.